Every now and then there is one off-Western production that gets people talking, and by the time you start looking to get a ticket and get yourself ready for it, it is over. This is what happened with me and Next to Normal. This is definitely the musical that everyone was talking about, but by the time I wanted to book the ticket, they were sold out, and it was a very short run in Donmar Warehouse. This is why it is super exciting that this amazing musical has transferred to West End, and there are a lot of people who are now heading to see this show. So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about it and my impressions. Next to Normal originated as off-Broadway production in 2008, where it has received amazing acclaim, and it was transferred to Broadway in 2009. During its run on Broadway, it was nominated for 11 Tony Awards, and it won 3, including Best Original Score, written by Tom Kitt. Together with lyrics written by Brian Yorkie, this is one of the few musicals that has received Pulitzer Prize for drama, especially when it comes to tackling the issues of mental health, illness in a musical, because this is not something that is often discussed in musicals, and this way they have expanded the scope of musical theater themes. So what is Next to Normal about? This musical follows a story of a family in suburban America where Diana, who is a mother and a wife in this family, has been struggling with bipolar disorder, and during the course of the story, her condition is just getting worse, and this has a devastating impact on her family, her relationship with her husband, and ultimately her own life. This musical tackles not only mental health issues but also the family dynamics and relationships. It's also a conversation about grief, about substance abuse, how mental health issues are handled in the States, but I think it's also the story that is transferable to any other country, because mental health disorders haven't been really talked about and taken as seriously up until a few years back. And this musical was written in 2008, but now in 2024 you can see that there's definitely been some progress made and the people are more comfortable talking about it and being exposed to these kind of stories, but there's still a long way to go before mental health is taken as seriously as it should have been. While the core themes of Next to Normal are very heavy and serious, the music is very uplifting and energetic because it is put in this rock genre that just gives you that energy and extra connection to the story through the music, because there are some really amazing numbers which everyone loved. Putting this sensitive family story in that rock sound results in a bit of a clash of music and emotions that this musical is trying to portray, and this is so brilliantly done because Diana, who is the character with bipolar disorder, is very much in that clash internally herself all the time, and her behaviors are unpredictable and the family is very much confused by what is happening. And I think that these rock tunes are really complementing nicely what the author is really trying to portray here. And sometimes this feeling is presented to you by really strong guitars and really loud music and loud noises. At other times there are some really more sensitive and subtle numbers, such as the ones portrayed by the daughter in the family, Natalie, and they are all about her perception of reality and how she feels like she's neglected. And there's a really nice flow of different genres within rock and pop that really complement the story nicely. And my favorite 2 numbers in this musical are I'm Alive, which is a song delivered by the son in the family, Gabe. It is so powerful. It is especially emotional when you know the context, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. The second number of the show, which I adored, is Superboy and the Invisible Girl, which is a duet between Gabe, the son, and Natalie, the daughter, which is all about different treatment that these 2 characters receive in their family. It's an incredibly emotional song, especially for all daughters out there who feel like sometimes they are the ones who need to figure their lives out and just be the ones that are invisible in the family so they don't cause a lot of trouble, and they are the ones that people can rely on. And I think that this is something that, regardless of the circumstances, a lot of daughters sometimes tend to feel. Given that this is a story about family, it is incredibly important that cast members do really feel that connected so they can deliver this powerful story. And next to normal cast that I have seen is one of the most amazing casts ever that I've witnessed. Their voices complement each other so well, and I think because they've had this Donmar Warehouse run first and then they all transfer to the West End, it is something that just works together so well, and they really create magic on stage. Their relationships are so believable and they really feel this story, and you can just tell that they're very much connected to it and that they're connected to each other. And for me, this cast is what makes this musical amazing. The story is good on its own and it is engaging and it is interesting, but I think if it wasn't for the cast that is currently on the West End, I don't think that I would resonate with this story as much. And I don't think that I'm the only one who's feeling this way, because this cast was nominated for 3 Olivier Awards, including Best Supporting Actor, Jack Wolfe, Best Supporting Actress, Elizabeth Worthington Cox, and Best Actress in a Leading Role, Caissie Levy. So let's start first with Caissie Levy, who is a Broadway veteran. She's done a lot of amazing productions and roles, starting from Elphaba in Wicked all the way to Elsa in Frozen. So she is a person who has been on Broadway for a long time, and she brings that amazing energy and singing voice and such humbleness to role of Diana, and you can really feel for her when she's on stage, especially because in a lot of the cases she needs to transfer from such a positive, uplifting song into an absolute whirlwind of emotions which she cannot control. And these transitions in her numbers and singing and demeanor on stage is absolutely incredible to watch and very emotional as well. There wasn't a dry eye in the audience by the end. And I think that the reason why there wasn't a dry eye in the audience is the relationship between Diana and Gabe, who is her son. Gabe is played by Jack Wolfe. His voice is out of this world. I have never witnessed someone, especially a male actor, sing those notes and sing with so much power and emotion. His role is, without many spoilers, a very specific one that has a lot of heaviness, and he is something in between very gentle, beautiful, and caring, and almost vicious and haunting character. That is the balance that he needed to play with. And the last person from the cast that I want to point out is Elizabeth Worthington Cox. She is playing Natalie, who is the daughter in the family, and she's the one who is neglected and kind of left to her own devices to do the whole growing up thing on her own. She's having her first relationship, she's having her first experience with drugs, and this all kind of goes unnoticed because of everything that is happening to her mom, and she doesn't really have the support from either of her parents. And what Elizabeth does so well is really gets into the shoes of this character, and she really is that teenager who is so confused and so scared, and you can tell this by the way that she sings, by the way that she carries herself, by the way that she dresses, ups and downs that she's going through in her relationship, in her kind of understanding of herself and her self-worth that she is placing in the hands of her family, accepting her and supporting her. And some of the most emotional scenes in this shows are actually delivered by this character and Elizabeth. There are 3 more cast members, which makes this cast not as big as maybe some other West End productions, but I think this is the beauty of it because it really makes those connections between the characters even stronger, and I think also the connections between the cast members. Since I haven't had a chance to see Next to Normal at Donmar Warehouse, I'm not really sure how the set solutions were delivered there, but I know that people were saying it's very intimate. The West End production is currently on at the Whitnam's Theatre. This is a bigger theatre, and I can imagine that they needed to do quite a lot of adjustments and set design to make it happen. The set is simply an apartment, and in particular the kitchen. There's something very central for every family that happens in the kitchen, and I think it is really interesting how that is portrayed as like the centerpiece of the set. The band is also on stage in what looks like the rooms in this house. This is like a typical American family style home, and then also all of the characters go upstairs at various points in time to access their rooms. So I think it's a very good set solution for replicating that feel of being in a family home where a lot of things happen, where people go up and down the stairs, where things happen in the kitchen. There's a little bit of that chaotic element, especially with the band being there and kind of playing all the time and seeing that there's something everything unfolding. My final thoughts when it comes to this musical is that it is a very strong story with even a stronger delivery. And the stronger delivery is because of the cast that is currently in the West End. I genuinely think that they are the strongest part of this show. Not to say that the story isn't good or engaging. I think it's an incredibly important story. What really makes you feel that this story resonates with so many people is the reactions of people around you. And there were people who were crying, and there were people who were so taken by the story that when they left the theater, they were all taking pictures. They were all just like trying to really take it all in, and they were having discussions as they were leaving how amazing it was. And I think this story has something so special to deliver to people. When it comes to music, there are so many catchy numbers, and the two that I've pointed out are definitely my favorites, but maybe I would say that this is not my favorite soundtrack from that perspective. The story on its own has so much importance and so much heart in it that it really makes you feel for this family and all the characters involved, and it also makes you feel seen in some way, because every family has something that they're going through, and I think if it is of a mental health illness nature, it is really hard for everyone involved, especially people going through it. It just offers another lens of compassion, and it brings people closer to being more understanding when it comes to mental health illness. And probably the most important part of this musical is that it gets people talking about something that is normally hidden under the rug. Unless its West End run gets extended, then you can see Next to Normal until 21st of September at Wyndham's Theatre for as little as £20. But if you're looking for some other suggestions on what else to see, then check out this video where I'm talking about some of my favorite shows.